As Dolphins fans, we've been through the ups and downs at quarterback for years. We finally thought we had stability, and now everything feels uncertain again. And what just came out about the team's real plan? It tells you exactly how serious this moment is. Something big is brewing behind the scenes in Miami, and depending on how this plays out, it could define the next few seasons of Dolphins football. Before we get into it, if you're a real Dolphins fan who lives and breathes this team like I do, hit that like button, subscribe to Dolphins Nation Report. This channel is brand new and we're pushing for our first 300 subscribers. If you care about honest, real fan takes and staying locked in on everything happening with this team, you're in the right place. Now let's get into it, because this situation is layered. The Dolphins have been heavily connected to Malik Willis, currently with the Green Bay Packers. And honestly, it makes sense. If you're paying attention, it makes a lot of sense. First of all, it's becoming more and more clear that Miami appears ready to move on from Tua Tagovailoa. That alone is massive. That's not a small shift. That's a franchise-altering decision. And if you're moving on from Tua, you need a plan. You can't just wing it at quarterback. Now here's where it gets interesting. Malik Willis has connections inside this building. Head coach Jeff Hafley and general manager John Eric Sullivan were both in Green Bay with Willis the last 2 seasons. That familiarity matters. Coaches trust guys they've seen up close every day. They know the work ethic. They know the personality. They know what a player looks like in the film room, not just on Sundays. According to Tony Pauline from Essentially Sports, the overwhelming belief from his sources is that Hafley actually wants Willis in Miami. Not just interested, not just monitoring. He favors signing him. But here's the problem: money. Pauline also made it clear that people around the league are questioning whether Miami can even afford Willis. The Dolphins are in a tough financial situation right now. And with growing interest in Willis around the league, his price tag is expected to rise in free agency. So this isn't just about football fit. It's about cap space. It's about whether Miami can even compete financially to land him. And if they can't, that's where things get bold. If Willis signs elsewhere, the expected plan is to roll with Quinn Ewers, the Dolphins' 2025 7th-round pick. Let that sink in. Ewers, a 7th-rounder, potentially becoming the starting quarterback in 2026. Now, to be fair, offensive coordinator Bobby Slowik is reportedly a big fan of Ewers. Slowik was elevated from passing game coordinator to offensive coordinator, and he apparently believes in the kid. And we did see flashes. When Tua got benched late last season, Ewers stepped in and started 3 of the final 4 games. He completed 66. 3% of his passes, threw for 622 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. For a rookie, that's not terrible. He looked poised at times. He showed confidence. The ball came out quick. But let's be honest with each other. The jury is still out. He flashed, yes. But flashing and being a long-term franchise starter are 2 completely different things. There's no guarantee he lasts more than a year if he's handed the keys. And here's the other layer. If Miami can't afford Willis and doesn't want to overspend on another coveted veteran, there's talk of bringing in an inexpensive veteran backup, someone like Jimmy Garoppolo, while letting Ewers start in 2026. Think about that strategy. Young quarterback on a cheap rookie deal, low-cost veteran insurance, financial flexibility preserved. It's not flashy, it's not headline-grabbing, but it's calculated. What's also interesting, Pauline's report didn't mention the Dolphins drafting a quarterback this year, and I wouldn't completely rule it out. But this year's quarterback class is considered weak. That's important. Miami may not see value in forcing a pick just to say they drafted one. And if Ewers doesn't solidify himself, then all signs would point to the 2027 NFL Draft, which is expected to have a much stronger quarterback class than this year's group. So what does all this really mean? It means the Dolphins are navigating a tightrope. They want Malik Willis. The head coach favors him. There's internal belief, but the cap situation could block it. If that happens, they're prepared to pivot to Quinn Ewers, a late-round pick who showed flashes but is far from a sure thing, with Bobby Slowik backing him. And as fans, this is where emotions get complicated. Part of me likes the idea of developing a young guy and building something sustainable. Another part of me knows our Super Bowl window isn't wide open forever. We've got talent, we've got expectations. Ownership didn't build this roster to wait and see for 3 years. This decision impacts everything: offensive identity, roster construction, free agency priorities, even the pressure on the front office. If Willis signs elsewhere and Ewers struggles, we're staring at another reset, and nobody in this fan base wants to live through that again. But if Ewers hits, if Slowick is right about him, if this front office sees something the rest of the league doesn't, then maybe this is the bold swing that defines a new era. That's why this rumor matters so much. It's not just about one player. It's about direction. It's about timing. It's about whether Miami is ready to gamble on upside or pay for experience. At the end of the day, this is a defining offseason for the Dolphins. The Super Bowl window, the financial pressure, the expectations, it's all converging right now. We're either setting up the next stable chapter or risking another quarterback carousel. And as fans, we feel every bit of that. If you're riding this roller coaster with me, drop a comment. Would you rather go all in on Malik Willis, or are you ready to roll with Quinn Ewers and see what the kids got? I genuinely want to know where you stand. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like, and if you're a Dolphins fan who appreciates real, honest takes, subscribe to Dolphins Nation Report. We're just getting started and pushing toward our first 300 subscribers. If you believe in building a real Dolphins community that actually speaks from the heart, come be part of it. Let's see where this quarterback story takes us. Because one way or another, it's going to define the future of this franchise.